Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video over on the channel by the name of Leah's Chill. Today I wanted to go ahead and talk about kind of a reality series that I've been watching as of recent. I recently read all of Oshi no Ko, which I think is going to be a massive new anime coming up soon. Basically, it's about these two siblings within the acting industry, born to an idol of which they can't reveal that that's their mother. And they slowly navigate the entertainment industry and confront a lot of these unfortunate truths that are beneath the surface. There's a lot of things that are very dark inside it and reveal a lot of like the mixed bloodlines and the kind of uncomfortable feeling of being in a production that doesn't have the faith in you. And so I found it to be a really interesting manga, and I honestly think fantastic read. But there is an arc in the middle from about chapter 21 to 29 or so, where it's about a girl confronting a real world issue. So Kurakawa Akane, which is the main character within this arc, is alongside the protagonist on a reality show very similar to something by the name of Terrace House. Today, I watched literally all of Terrace House afterwards, and I wanted to talk about kind of the nature of this and why it was actually a really interesting manga segment to me and got me into this in the first place. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So to start talking about this, I actually just wanted to run down what Terrace House is if you haven't seen it just yet. It was recently added to Netflix, but it's not like it's the most popular thing in the fucking world. I think it's slowly ramping up, which is very odd because during the pandemic is when they had arguably the worst possible moment in the history of the entire series. And we'll talk about that as we get there. So there was a bunch of different series of Terrace House. There was one originally that was in Japan, in Tokyo, and it was just three girls and three boys start living inside a house. They give the people a house, they give them two vehicles, and they say, okay, we're gonna film you. We might backseat a little bit in your personal relationships, but we're gonna film you and you're gonna be the content and we'll see how it goes. There's no script at all. It's not scripted. Run with it, see how it goes. And so it's 6 random people, half of them in the entertainment industry, half of them not. Half of them are like fucking surfers or something. And every one of the seasons just slowly ramps up more and more. I think that the first ones are fairly lax, I want to say. The first one is Boys and Girls Next Door. It was just kind of normal. There's a couple of conflicts inside it, but they weren't very interesting. And it's basically just watching 3 people. So 3 guys, 3 girls slowly get closer to each other. And then one of them is less interested or less interesting, so they dip out and then new ones pop in. And they keep on replacing these 3 to make more interesting dynamics. I really enjoyed the one. So I just finished Aloha State. I've watched In the City. And Opening New Doors. I actually think Opening New Doors is the most enjoyable one, mostly just because there's like an ice hockey girl on the left. These 2 on the left are like my main couple. They're very cute together. But I think the series as itself isn't something very harmful. It's basically just they give 6 people the ability to live together, film what ends up happening between it. But what you don't see beneath the surface, and something that's talked about inside Oshi no Ko, is that behind the scenes, there is a TV studio coming in and giving them feedback on how they should be acting, making them watch the episodes they were in previously, and having them refine their actions to either make better storylines or to try and get the character in some kind of different direction. An example of this is in the last moments of most of the seasons, there's always some kind of massive conflict that happens. So Boys and Girls Next Door, lame, nothing too interesting. Boys and Girls in the City, there was a meat incident, I believe, where someone ate their $200 thing of meat and they were very upset and their relationship broke down because of it. In Aloha State, there was this separate issue where this girl named Sherry starts dating a Russian guy, one of the other characters on the show, as well as like this random other guy that didn't even mentioned. And then when everyone confronts her about it, she shuts it down and just kind of diverts attention otherwise. And then toward the end of the show, instead of bringing this old drama back up, instead, I guess this girl named Sherry, like, insults another one of the girls by saying that one of the guys hates her. It's such bare minimum shit, right? But it becomes this whole fucking spiral of bullshit that goes around in circles. And eventually the girl decides, I'm gonna stop talking to the guy who's trying to reason with me. His name is Taishi inside this show. He was pretty cool. But she basically just says, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. You don't talk to me. We got 2 weeks left. We're done. And there's no conflict resolution. There's no solution. They just accept that. And I think that that was a major warning sign of potentials inside this like series. It's a very like comfy sideshow to watch, where it's just people living out their dreams, trying to slowly butt up against their goals, like trying to become an actor or trying to get like their brand inside a certain store, or like trying to further themselves as a musician, for example. Just using this as a way of trying to get closer to their dreams. And it is pretty enjoyable. Taishi goes on it and says that he's looking for a love worth dying for, which I think is fucking crazy. He dates every single girl inside the house and just tears a path through everyone to try and find someone he's actually interested in, and doesn't really narrow down the emotions he has for each of them. So there are these things beneath the surface that are very obviously negative snippets that you can kind of notice along the way. But it all kind of balloons in Tokyo 2019 and 2020. But there's a reason they haven't put this on Netflix. This series on Netflix, and the reason for it, there's actually 4 whole seasons of it. If you actually scroll down here, you can see there's 41 episodes, if we look at this. But Hana Kimura is a professional wrestler that got on the Terrace House show for the most recent season, just before the COVID-19 pandemic. And when she joined, it was very positive. I think there was a lot of stigma around her being a wrestler inside the house. I haven't actually watched a lot of these episodes because after episode 19, the one where she shows up, it's completely gone off of Netflix, and the rest of the series was not finished. Naturally, COVID-19 affected its actual like release schedule, but they completely canceled it because of this incident. So I'm going to start talking about this. Trigger warning to those who are sensitive to subjects like suicide or cyberbullying or just generally unfortunate circumstances. So in April 2020, the production of the show was halted due to the pandemic. The show's resumed episodes were filmed prior to suspension of the production in 2020. The release of the new episodes was again suspended following the suicide of a cast member on May 23rd, 2020. So Hana Kimura, it was a professional wrestler who went to the house, and there was a conflict within the house where apparently one of the other members, he tossed her wrestling outfit in the wash and it ended up shrinking. And so she got upset, but the production said to her to play up how upset she was, to be able to play more towards being an antagonist. And this was fairly early on within her run on Terrace House. And so it's very hard to come back from those sorts of things. And so after she goes ahead, I'm actually going to quickly watch a video of the incident itself, and then we'll talk about it. I am interested in kind of breaking this down and talking about this a little bit. So I want to bring So we're going to go ahead and watch this. Basically what this is this is an episode that was never aired on Netflix. This is Hana Kimura being upset at the guy for shrinking her outfit inside the washing machine. Apparently, the production had told her to slap him after getting into the conflict, and slap him across the face just to make the point even better and become more of an antagonist. And she opted to only take the hat off and throw it and still be upset. And then after this, Oshi no Ko talks about it as well within the chapter 25, but basically she was able to go on social media and see 1,000 opinions about her and her actions and how she doesn't deserve to have a place in this house or in the entertainment industry or anything, while being someone who is primarily forward-facing within the entertainment industry. As a wrestler, you're someone who's very determined to represent yourself. And if you go and see her wrestling, it's very energetic. She never really played the heel in a lot of like the wrestling situations. And so this is almost her being made into a heel on a reality show without a script. And it was so fucking detrimental to her mental health because of it. You can see here, after one of the male cast members shrank one of her expensive wrestling outfits after accidentally mixing it with his clothes and washing it in the washing machine, she was seen yelling at him, saying, "Be more considerate of others," before pulling the cat off his head in angry outbursts. So it isn't even all that dramatic. I would honestly say that the thing where the girl was kissing multiple guys in the last season was much, much worse, and they never came to a resolution, and then the show just ended. And so it's not even like the worst thing that's happened within the history of Terrace House. It's simply because it was in the middle of the runtime, and this person that had just come to the house was made into this heel and had to kind of live with that and check social media and scroll and see 1,000 opinions about her being so negative. And so Oshi no Ko touches on this really interesting story from Terrace House in a way that's really fucked up. It hit me pretty hard the first time I read it. And so that's kind of what made me interested in checking this out in the first place. I think that Terrace House is honestly not that great of a series. Just by nature, it's basically 6 strangers butting heads until one of them maybe gets into a relationship over and over. And every time something happens on the show, it then hard cuts to a cast of like 6 comedians breaking down what we just saw as if telling you how you should feel about it. And that also is almost this sort of brigading towards the sort of feeling they want to capture with it. And so even the comedians will sometimes like latch on and insult a certain cast member, for example. And it kind of perpetuates this natural flow of fuck that is just very unpleasant. And so I don't really know where they can go with Terrace House from this current controversy. And we'll see. You can also see here, Lauren Tsai, one of the people on Aloha State, said that Terrace House is one of the least real reality shows. There's no script, but there is just very obvious like planning in terms of storylines, even from the people on the show. It's just barely not talked about and just barely not put in the production so that it makes the series seem more interesting. And I think Oshi no Ko really goes into that in a very interesting way. It's tough to read, and it's tough to watch knowing what happened to Hana Kimura, and obviously, this is not to point out anything wrong with the action that she took or the things that end up happening. This is just me trying to talk about Terrace House as a whole and what it actually ended up being. And I wonder if it'll ever come back. I think that this is something that's pretty irrecoverable, just because this is the first thing you get anytime you search up Terrace House online right now. And when you don't have a script and you're playing into these sorts of things, either the series becomes not engaging or it becomes this exact problem, which is you play up storylines to the point where some people actually get hurt and their careers are affected in the future because you kick them down and ruin their mental health as well. And so I don't know. After watching all of Terrace House, I think that it is a very, very rocky slope. And I wonder if they will end up making the series return. It was just very interesting. And if you haven't checked out Oshi no Ko, which is kind of a behind-the-scenes look at a reality show like this, check it out. It is a very worthwhile manga that I really enjoyed, and honestly was really engaging. So if you are curious about it, feel free to give it a look. For now, thank you guys for watching. I just kind of want to chat about this today. This is a little bit different from my usual manga content, but I think it made sense. And after watching all of Terrace House, I definitely had some very strong feelings about it. But let me know what you guys think. Have you ever checked out Terrace House? For now, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.